Louisiana Beer Reviews 42, Carlsberg Premium. Carlsberg Premium was introduced in 1904 by the Carlsberg Brewing Company in Copenhagen, Denmark. This can was sent to me directly from Denmark, and you can see it was kind of beat up on the trip. This beer is 4.6% alcohol. In other places it's lower, depending on where it's sold, but over here it's also 4.6%. This was, like I said, sent to me, and then I went to Metairie, Louisiana last week, and look what I find. Carlsberg. So, sorry Brian, you sent it to me, but they sell it here. Oh well. Anyway, this is a better deal because this is a pint and this is 11.2 ounces, and that is not a deal. That is a ripoff. It should be a minimum 12 ounces, but I can't do anything about it. Alright, this beer, when it debuted, the can and bottle design was made by Thorvald Bindesbale, and he got paid pretty good amount to design this, which is considered a classic design. I think it's got the crown because it's made under a royal warrant in the Kingdom of Denmark. On Beer Advocate it gets a C+. The Bros give it a B-, and it gets a fine rating on the Beer and Me, and Rate Beer gives it a fairly good rating. Not great, just fairly good. I've never had it before, so this is another one of those Louisiana Beer Reviews where I've actually never tried the beer before. So this will be exciting, I think. So let's open it up. Now on this can it says Pilsner. On the American version it says beer, but most beers are Pilsners, which is a light style lager. I'll give it a pour. Okay, you can see it has a very thick white head, very soapy. The appearance is quite clear and golden. I would call it a golden appearance. So it's not that different from what you would see if you poured a Heineken, for instance. Something like that. It's a European style Pilsner. It's made with barley malt, water, hops, and yeast. And unlike American beers, it's not made with any corn or rice adjunct. American brewing companies generally like to put the corn and rice adjuncts in to kind of cut the taste. Americans don't typically like a strong beer flavor as they do in Europe. But anyway, it's still going to be mild, I'm sure. Give it a little bit more in here. Okay, now the smell test. Very faint, as you would expect. I think you pick up some subtle sweetness, but overall it's really just a typical beer smell. And my friend Brian, who sent this to me, said this is just like the Budweiser of Denmark. It's very, very typical. You see it everywhere. It's not expensive beer. It's nothing exotic. It's just something that people have when they want a beer. So it's not anything complex. Now for the most important thing, the taste test. It's a mild taste. You get the wateriness there. You have the sweetness. It's got a little bit of a barley profile, but it's just a little bit. It's not malty, really. And at the end of the taste, you do pick up a pretty good amount of just your standard hop bitterness that it's not that different from, let's say, if you drink in America. I'm trying to think of a U.S. beer that's similar to this. I was gonna say Pabst Blue Ribbon, but it's got a little more of a hop push in the rear end of the taste, and whereas Pabst Blue Ribbon has more of a sweetness. Maybe it's, trying to think, like the I've had years ago, the Coors Extra Gold, maybe, instead of just the Coors. But you know, overall, it's I'm kind of splitting hairs because it's really not that different than what you drink, say, with a Budweiser, really. So, but you got a little bit more of a hop, a little more of a bite to it, much like Schlitz has, but you know, it's different than Schlitz. Really, it is. And so it's got a unique taste. It's really not exactly like drinking. I mean, it's not, the taste is not the same as any American beer I can think of, but I'd say it's similar to it. So if you like regular beers and you want to try something from Europe, you know, this is good. This is really more similar to what you'd get with a European import. Like it's more similar to a Heineken, although it probably has a little bit more body than a Heineken. Although I think Heineken is good. Maybe not terribly unlike Beck's, but I guess I would drink a lot of those other beers and say, you know, that's not that different from Carlsberg. So you know, you can see a lot of the bubbles streaming up the glass. It's highly carbonated. The mouthfeel is light and watery. The finish is semi-dry to really just straight up dry, but not quite as dry as what you encounter over here in the United States. But how would I rate this beer that I've never tried before? I would say I would go along with what the bros say, that the two brothers on the Beer Advocate. I would give it a B-. It's good. It's not just average. It's a good beer. And I would recommend it. I'd say give it a try if you like to try different things out. So thank you, Brian, for sending this to me. Apparently you drink a good amount of these, so you're more familiar with the taste and you're used to the taste. I'm not used to the taste, so sometimes I have to get acclimated to it, but I'm enjoying it. I'm really liking the way it looks in the glass with these nice looking bubbles streaming up. I mean, it's really got some good life to it. It's a lively beer, which I like to see. So Le Bon Ton Roulé, this is a good beer, and I'm going to end this review by saying, y'all come on down to New Orleans.